Hi,
Hi,
how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Welcome to That's Interesting. How was your week?
It was good. It was very exciting, very long.
That's what she said. Okay, right now we're actually listening. I want to tell people the song that we're listening to right now. This week we started a new little thing called. What's it called again? Let me see. It's called Merch Stream, and basically we did the first one ever, and the Cachadorians from Lafayette, Louisiana, all 17 years old, I might add, are playing the song that you hear in the beginning of the show. And I think that you should go check them out. If you go to That's Interesting's Facebook page, you'll actually see a new page on the website too, and it's called Merge Stream, and you will actually see the Cachadorians article. You can click on it and learn about a new local band and some new things happening.
And they're young too, right?
They're 17 years
These are
old.
kids.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the show, he's actually talking about how he can't even get into an R-rated movie, but they started a nonprofit.
They
Which,
did.
yes, I mean it's I think it's extremely impressive.
Well,
What
that's
they're doing.
fantastic at that age.
Yeah, I mean, and not only did they do it, I mean, they had a lot of problems with trying to get booked, and I think that's kind of what made it happen. They just said, you know what, we're gonna make this happen, and they did. And that's why I wanted to kind of be a part of helping them because not just anyone's gonna let anybody have a voice today, right?
Exactly.
So I think that it's cool that they have that, and I'm very happy that I helped them.
Well, good for you. I liked it. I liked the song. Although I do laugh because it's so dramatic, and I don't think I'm that dramatic anymore. And maybe I was at 17, but I'm just not.
I don't. I wish I could be a bug on the wall
Can you be filled with
to go
angst
back
anymore?
to. I was never filled with angst ever. I was filled with, hey, let's take apart a bunch of electronics and see how much money we can make off of these things.
Ah, okay.
I'm being serious.
I don't doubt you at all.
I mean, I I have to be careful too what I say because I mean I used to, the only things I would do, like if I got something in my head, nobody could tell me not to do it. I just went and did it. No, I didn't even tell anybody. I just did it.
Mhm.
So the probably the worst thing I think I ever did was, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this.
The NSA is listening.
Yeah, I know, I know. When I was 15, I stole my mom's car and drove 45 miles to New Orleans to go down Decatur Street and find some people that I could ask a question or two about a term paper I was writing
Okay.
because I felt like I knew that everyone in class was going to, do a term paper, and it was like going to be sourced like from the library at school and all this stuff. And I just figured, how cool would it be to say that you actually went to New Orleans and talked to people, and those were your sources.
Mhm.
It wasn't an easy experience because back in the day, I don't know if you remember that time. I I don't even know what year that was, but it was probably like 2000. No, that's wow. I'm making myself a lot younger than what I am.
I'm like,
It was
what kind of math are you
Yeah. I
doing?
graduated in high school in '96, so that would have been like '92 or something like that, right?
I don't know. Well, how old were you when you graduated?
So I must have been 17. I can't think that far.
I think your math is off.
Yeah, no, I mean like really. I mean I know I graduated when I was 17 years old, so you know. But I do remember the experience. It was very, very fun. I knew how to drive very well. I had been driving a car since probably the age of 12 years old, which I don't recommend for a whole lot of people to go do. But at the same time, it it definitely helped me by not saying I'm just gonna not do it because I'm scared. I have to be honest with you, and I still do the same thing today.
Gotcha.
And I still go and question people on a regular basis. I think sometimes people get mad because I ask them so many questions. But they actually help a lot of things in Acadiana now, so I think that's a good thing.
So it all worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out. I remember you want to hear a funny situation
Sure.
about that night? I'll never forget it. My mother, she, she didn't know what miles were on a vehicle at all. She
Okay.
only knew how much gas she had. And I knew that I had to have the exact same amount of gas in the vehicle when I got back. Right?
Right.
So that's what happened, and made it there safe, got back safe. But this is what was interesting about it. I'm 15 years old. You remember those Chevy vans back in the day? Those
Mhm.
big ones?
Yeah.
That's what it was. With a big V8, like, like with, I remember the van even had like blinds in it, and it had the back part where the seat was actually had like a little area with a ice chest and all this stuff. This was apparently like the in thing back in the 90s to have a van, and who had the more cool stuff in their van. But I remember it very well. It was navy blue and tan, and I remember this too. They bought it in New Orleans, of all places. So I'm gonna shut up now. But yeah, I mean, and she knows. I tell my mother almost everything.
Eventually.
Yeah, no, I mean, they know. I never did it. I was never in a lot of trouble as a kid. My older brother was usually in trouble, and if I got in trouble, I was only there.
Like my friend Irene and I stole her parents' car when we were 15.
Oh, this is getting interesting.
And we had to put gas in it. And we had no idea how to put gas in the car.
Oh, wow.
So when we drove to the gas station, we had to figure it all out. And there was a guy there who literally just sat back and watched us struggle for a good 10 minutes.
He was probably like that dude on Old School sitting there with his finger in his belly button going.
I'm hoping not. I'm thinking it was more of a joke.
Well, I mean,
really.
like, really. Like,
to
he's
watch
not
the
gonna
two of us try to figure out what...
Yeah, but you were in California. They got some freaks up in California, man.
Yeah, well,
Especially in that area of California.
We're in Smelly.
Yeah. Like, I was in L.A. one time. I'm going to tell you the funniest thing. Me and my dad are walking in L.A. and we're in a rental car, and like the battery's dead. We left the lights on, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in a city park. I think my brother was graduating from the Marines, and we were in San Diego, and it was a park in San Diego, and I remember, like, in Louisiana, you can get jumper cables anywhere. Everybody's got jumper cables.
Right.
They're willing to help you any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Not in San Diego.
Nope.
So I'm walking up to people going, "Ma'am, can I borrow? Do you have jumper cables by any chance? Can you give us a jump?"
No,
And
because
people
everyone
are like running away.
Because everyone in California has AAA, and no one helps each other. Because you could be a serial killer.
I even walked up to a guy, like one of the security people at the state park, and he pulled his gun on me.
Yeah.
So like I was like, "Oh, dude, it's cool. I don't need your jumper cables. I'm going back to my car." So we wound up calling the rental place, and they showed up and jumped us off, and we made sure not to leave those lights on again, Dad.
My old car, the kids would leave the door open, and so the interior lights would stay on, and sometimes the headlights would then stay on forever, and I wouldn't notice it, and the damn thing would be dead the next morning. What is up with these cars that allow the batteries to run all the way out?
Well, I think the car people...
Don't you think that they would shut those lights off after a while?
No, I mean...
After a certain amount of time, you probably don't need that light. You probably forgot it.
I think that, I mean, it's probably has something to do with, the economy of cars. Because I don't know. I mean, batteries, they just go dead
Well,
if you
yeah,
leave the lights on.
after a
But
few, yeah.
there's not like a safety device that turns off the lights.
But it should, so
Well,
that you can at least start the damn car.
I mean, I'm with you, but I've been taking cars apart since I was like 12. I took my first car apart when I was 12,
Okay.
and I still randomly take them apart if somebody needs help. So like, I've never seen a device like that. But if they ever did come out with one, the chances of Lincoln or Lexus being first, I would think that that would probably happen.
It's a timer. How long do you need those lights on?
I'm with you, and you know what? I think that
and
they
if
do
and if the
actually
timer
have.
goes off and you still need those lights, I'm thinking you could
Well,
flip the switch and put the damn light on.
Somebody's gonna comment because I know this is out. There's no way this is not out yet. But I mean, I don't know, because I mean, you have your automatic switch dimmer on your car with auto.
Yeah.
You leave it on auto, they automatically go off. So I know it exists now. But I don't leave my lights on in my car.
No one leaves their lights on purpose.
What somebody asked me the other day, we were riding, and they go, "Hey, can I plug my phone in your car, and while we're at lunch, like leave my phone charging in your car?" I said, "Well, it goes off after like."
Some do, and some
do, right?
don't.
Some don't. Now, see, that would freak me out because that's gonna drain your battery a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's not gonna drain it a whole lot, but if you're not really highly charged, I mean, it could,
Yeah.
you know.
The mysteries of car batteries.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, you could always, go plug into the place that you're at with your plug-in charger. All right, let's get off of that. That's boring. That's so boring. Let's get back to stealing cars. Okay, so you stole a car when you were in a car, not and it was your friend's car, but you stole your mom's car too.
Her mom's.
And we were both 15 when we did this.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know this about each other.
No.
That's very interesting. That I'm 35. How old are you?
41.
Okay. Do you find that kids today are just so much nicer and better than what we
No.
were when we were kids? I do. Because I mean,
As far
I talk
as what
about
they
some of
do,
I talk about some of the things I used to do, and people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, I've done a lot of crazy stuff.
well,
Apparently,
I've done a lot of crazy
I didn't think
stuff,
was so
but,
crazy back then.
but then I wasn't rude to everybody.
I'm not rude ever. I mean, I would.
But
Eh,
no, but that's what I'm saying is that I think one of the things that kids do now more than steal cars and what have you, that's good, solid American fun. Is they're rude and ugly to each other on
I did it
Facebook.
for research purposes. You did it, and you didn't even know how to pump gas.
There was no research involved. we
Well-
were just trying to get to the mall.
Yeah, that's horrible. See that right there? No. I mean, if a cop, I even thought about it. If I get pulled over, because this was in Houma, I was driving from Houma to New Orleans, so I had to take, those crazy little roads all the way down there, and
I mean, that's a long drive.
if a cop pulls
This
you
is
over,
in
what are
the
you
in the
gonna do?
valley in LA.
What are you gonna do? Like really, what are you gonna say? Like I remember thinking about that the whole way there, and then at one point I just said, you know what, whatever. I need to
If
figure
it
out where I
happens, it
wanna
happens. What are you gonna do?
go. Well, I mean, what would you do? That's the question.
Just say,
I mean,
"Oh, I'm sorry."
oh, I'm sorry. I don't know where I'm at.
I don't know. I've only been pulled over twice in my whole life.
I couldn't imagine calling. Could you imagine them calling my mom at like 3 a.m. and going, "Hi, how are you? Do you know where your son is right now?" Well, yeah, he's in bed.
With your car?
You might want to check it out. And then she can't come get me because the car's gone. That would be very interesting. And we didn't have Facebook back then. But that would have been interesting right there. That would have been interesting. So, but no, I mean, if you're ever gonna do anything wrong, you might want to plan it first, and you might want to, really map it out. Always have a notebook handy. 'Cause,
Map
like,
it out.
if you run into an issue and you maybe panic, that notebook is going to be very, very useful. About maybe things that you were thinking about, because when you stress out, sometimes you're not thinking. So
So you got to have a plan B and C,
I would have a,
possibly a D.
I would start with plan one, and then from that point, I would just really, really, really not think it was not going to happen. Really, I mean, because I wouldn't go no more than plan C, but I wouldn't want to go no further than plan B, because
Hope for the
Plan
best,
A should
plan
be-
for the worst.
absolutely, you should have thought about this in your mind. You should have ran a check. You should have thought about how long it was going to take. Everything. You should know everything. How many minutes to get there? How many miles to get there? Where it's at exactly? If there's a one-way street when you get there, what you're going to do? Some crazy guy might be at the edge of the street. I mean, this is New Orleans, right? And I remember that night, like the Riverwalk. I remember walking back to the car because I parked at the Riverwalk. Um, it's amazing, but when you leave the Riverwalk, nobody gives a shit unless you pay. If you pay, that's all they care about.
Now, at 15 here, did you have a license or a permit or something like that?
I did not have a license,
Okay.
but I did get my license when I was 15. It just wasn't.
It hadn't happened yet.
It hadn't happened yet,
Okay.
but that paper had to be done.
So there you have it. Confession 101.
Yes. We're not going to get into what the paper was about. But all I can say is that the place that I went into, down Decatur Street, I'll never forget that experience as long as I live. That I can say.
Well, there you go.
And man, I will say this. I am pretty proud of myself for that one. I am. I don't regret that one bit, because that was one amazing learning experience. That night I actually met a man who had, I think it was something like 150 something piercings in his face.
Ow. Seriously?
Not a joke. And I'm wearing khakis and a plaid long sleeve shirt. So-
I don't get all the piercings in the face. And look, I have a pierced nose. I have pierced belly button, tattoos. I'm not like, Miss Clean. I just don't get that much going on your face. That would drive me nuts.
Well, let's get a little further. I wound up actually meeting some people who thought they were vampires too. That
Who
night.
thought for real that they were
Thought
vampires?
They were really vampires. And this goes into what the research was about, because I had heard that there were quite a few people who thought they were.
And they were living that way too, like drinking blood and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that started a journey at 15 that I can tell you right now.
Let me look at your neck. You got any scars? That's why the turtlenecks, folks. It's 105 degrees out.
I'm pasty white. That's about as far as it gets.
That explains it.
And I'm always in the sun. And I mean, I think if vampirism were real, that would be a myth anyway. Because the sun, really.
Okay.
But I will say this. It was quite a term paper.
I'll bet.
That teacher freaked out.
Too bad you didn't have an iPhone then, videotaped any of it.
I did have a video camera. There was no way that I was bringing it.
Well, no.
It was
Back
and I
then,
still
you would
own
have to
that video
hoist it
camera.
up on your shoulder, and
That's what it was.
I'll
I
bet.
still own it.
That's
I still
awesome.
own it. A VHS
Oh,
camcorder.
nice.
Brand new, mint condition, with a leather bag with red interior. With a backup battery.
Then the the battery weighs half, 3/4 the weight of the whole entire camera.
The battery is actually probably 5 pounds.
It's a brick. Oh, I know.
It's bigger than 7 iPhones
Look,
put together.
I remember when I had my first cell phone in college, and it was one of those Motorola flip phones, and the entire thing was the battery, and the phone itself slid on the battery, and the bottom part of it flipped out if you wanted to talk.
Mine was in my. I had a truck when I was 15.
Did you have a bag phone?
I had a car phone, like
In the
one
trunk?
where they. No, it was at the floorboard, like it was like on the thing.
Yeah, my mom had one of
And
those.
like I had to hit send to make a call, and I was like the only dude in high school.
You had to
with one
crank
of them
it up
phones.
to get it power.
I'll never forget that. It was a 19. It was a 2000. It was a no. Why do we keep
Why
saying
2000?
It was a
You are a
1995
vampire. You don't even know what day
GMC
it is.
Sonoma extended cab, and I had a roll bar and all these lights and all this stuff on it. And it was nice. It was red. It was cherry red. I wish I could say it was a 1950 Chevy, 57 Chevy or something. But
Mhm.
it wasn't
It was
around
not.
then. I begged my dad for it was like, I think it was 1964 Lincoln Continental,
Mhm.
black with red leather.
He didn't go for that.
There was, at that time the gas would have been bad. This time, I
Oh,
couldn't even
forget it.
imagine. I think it was like 8 miles to the gallon.
Forget it. I'm
And
like
it was
ready to go
beautiful.
buy a Vespa.
It was beautiful. It was black with red interior with suicide doors.
There you go. I love those.
It was
That's good
absolutely
stuff.
amazing. They only wanted 10 grand for it at the time.
Really?
And then I had a man. I was friends with a lot of elderly people
Mhm.
when I was a kid. And I, if you're younger and you're listening to this show, I strongly recommend being friends with someone that, not a creepy old guy, like somebody of intelligence that has some sort of stories from the past. Like
Mhm.
if I lived in Lafayette, I would live at Acadian Village and like try to get them to start some kind of thing where the people that are older come and tell stories,
Mhm.
and people in school, like a cultural like event.
Absolutely.
That would have like been a big thing for me, and it still would be.
I lived with my grandparents for a while, and it was one of the best times of my life. I loved living with them because they had
Well-
the best stories ever.
I was very unique. I was in this thing called the Pond Society, and I was the only person that was young in it.
Mhm.
And I think I was the only. No, there was one other straight guy in it. But this one woman, she was probably like 60 something years old. They would have door prizes, and I didn't know what that was. I was like, "What is a door prize?" They were like, "Well, you're gonna need to bring one if you're in the society." And basically, what we did was we toured facilities that had ponds in their businesses and in their homes and things like that. Because that's what we did. Like when I was in high school, if I was bored, I built aquatic ponds and landscaping fountains and
Okay.
walkways and all these crazy things like that. And that's what I did.
Cool.
Yeah. Like I was crossbreeding roses in a brick flower bed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Man, I'm bringing it way back. We're going way back. There were 32 rose bushes in that thing. Okay. But no, I mean, it made me realize that there were other people in this world that they had either gone through something bad, or it just something wasn't right, But the thing that I thought was cool was I'm 15 years old. Nobody asked me how old I was.
Mhm.
No one even questioned why I was there. They were curious to the fact that I was there,
Mhm.
and I was asking them questions. Which I think that they were like, if he's interested in what we do or what we are,
Okay.
we're gonna just tell him.
Mhm.
But nobody questioned anything, and that was the one thing that I thought was really interesting, because a lot of people would look at those guys and go, you know what, they're not normal, but they were. They were perfectly normal.
Of
They
course.
lived, I was 15, and I look at that now, and I go, people think that's crazy, but at the same time, what they consider to be normal, they're buying books about it, they're watching movies about it, but yet when they meet a person like that,
Mhm.
they think it's crazy. I think that's crazy, because if you're gonna spend the money to like be interested, then why not stay interested enough to want to meet somebody that you're actually reading or hearing about? You know, like that's just me, and I'm glad. That's why I don't regret it, because like today, I will walk up to anyone and say, you know what, hi, and if they need help, I help them. I don't care why or what they're doing, or like, I mean, they got all kind of people out there. You know, I mean, I still to this day, from doing this so much, I actually believe that there are many people out there that aren't even from this planet out there. And I'm probably gonna get
You are
ridiculed
gonna
for
put
saying
that
something
one
like
on the
that.
table.
I'm gonna put it on the table because I'm being honest. I mean, you meet all kind of people, and I mean, I would, if we were ever, I think Ronald Reagan probably was the one that made the comment. He said, one of these days, he says the worlds can't seem to get along. These are not exact words, by the way.
I didn't think you had
Um,
it etched in your memory.
I remember him having a speech, and he said, I'd like to think that the world could come together if they were at a threat for an alien race. And I don't think people listened to him when he said that, but they got it whenever he said it. But they
Well, my
forgot.
guess is we probably would. I mean,
Well,
that's part
and
of the
that's the
human
thing,
condition to come together to fight your enemy's enemy.
but nobody knows if they're enemies. But then again, if you saw it on Facebook, or you read it or you saw it on the news, or God forbid the newspaper, who's really being honest? That's the case.
Mhm.
And I question everything. I've done it my whole life. I mean, now I've gotten to the point where I think I'm getting old enough to kind of know what my gut feeling is telling me more faster than anything.
Mhm.
So like, I just listen to that and I kind of do it, and go forward with that. So I really don't think for a second that you got to be careful, but at the same time, I'm going to use this as an example. Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson. Okay.
Okay. Here we
This
go.
guy is highly intelligent.
Yeah.
Highly intelligent.
I agree.
Okay. Not only is he intelligent, but like you say that name and people freak out. They think you're crazy when you say that name. But you know why they think that?
Why?
Because they think that he's crazy because of the portrayal and the look that he went about doing, right?
Mhm.
But yet, if he comes to your town, you get freaked out because he's coming into town. Oh my God, what's going to be there?
Well, his
mean,
fans are not necessarily as highly intelligent as he is.
Well, you might be surprised.
I could be.
Okay. I mean,
He doesn't bother me that much, but I understand when people flip out. It's just because something different is coming. People don't do different very
Can you say that
well.
one more time? Can you say that one more time? Some people flip out whenever something different is coming.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, you know what? I've been to those shows. The only thing that's crazy about them is the fact that nobody's not there to experience it. Because honestly, like, it's kind of interesting. It really is. Like, I remember when they asked him a question. They tried to pin some stuff on this guy a while back. And
Well, they
it wasn't
always
his
do.
fault.
I mean, my God,
Well, yeah, I mean,
Ozzy
every time something
Osbourne has
bad
been
happens,
blamed for God knows how many things.
every time something bad happens, they want to pin it on somebody. But he told him straight up. He says, "I listen to my music. I don't talk about that." And I thought that that was a very intelligent way of handling
Yeah.
it because it's true. He does
It
it.
is true. It is true. I don't necessarily like Marilyn Manson's music, not because of his crazy outfits or whatever. I just don't. It doesn't appeal to me.
Well, I'm gonna say one thing about him. As crazy
But
as you
as
might
but
think
as
he
an
is,
artist, I can appreciate what he does.
as crazy as people might think he is, as nutty as they might think his music is, or that didn't sound right. Can be.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got an amazing relationship with his family. Amazing relationship with his dad and his mom. From what I can see,
Mhm.
I mean, they love him for who he is.
So
I
be
mean,
it.
they don't yeah. I mean, like, and you know what? That's cool with me. That's cool with me. If I think that's a great thing. So don't know
So
where
there
I
you
was going
go.
with that.
You want to hear something
but
really surprising?
you go. I want to hear this.
Really surprising.
Is it really
It's
surprising?
really surprising.
I'm almost scared to hear it.
The woman who was going to sell her virginity, it didn't work out.
She went there. She went there.
It didn't work out well. I just shocker.
I think she should go to medical school, and that way she
She
could
didn't
be
get
the
any
surgeon
money.
virgin.
She did not get any money.
Did you hear that?
No, he turned away.
I think she should go to medical school, and that way she could be the surgeon virgin.
Well, you can find her in Brazil Playboy, however.
You can find the surgeon virgin in Brazil Playboy, but yet she's a victim because she didn't get paid.
She's a victim.
She didn't have sex and she didn't get paid. I read the article a little bit.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like, are you kidding me? That was just a huge publicity stunt for somebody to make a reality show and see if it was gonna work.
No, I don't think that. I don't think the show's gonna happen.
Well, it's not reality.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I just thought it was funny because like you see this woman and she's like in all these sexy poses and it just didn't have a virgin thing to it, and now she's I don't know.
But I never doubted her virginity. I know you did.
Well,
I didn't
mean,
doubt her virginity.
somebody-
I just doubt the whole thing was gonna happen seamlessly with this, guy producing a show from it and all that kind of garbage.
Well, what about the guy? I wonder if that went through.
That probably happened.
That guy's probably like
He
happened in
probably
Australia,
he got
so
money order.
he's probably like he went through that $3,000 quick.
Yeah, I was
though.
gonna say his was only like what $3,000 or
Yeah.
$5,000. It wasn't those
His-
$780,000.
$3,000. He's in New Orleans right now.
She used her Discover card for that.
Oh, by the way, somebody was looking at an article today online. Apparently now, if you if you use a credit card for online pornography or gambling online
Yeah.
or other things like that, they will not allow you to make that purchase. So apparently they've done some research and they realized that they were getting screwed by that.
Wait, what?
I'm being serious.
What do you mean?
Google that.
Online porn. You can't use a credit card for it.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently you can use a debit card. If you use a credit card, apparently, I don't know. I saw something about it. They were looking at it today. So when I walked by, they were talking about it. And they were like different scenarios.
That makes no sense.
Well, I mean, do you look at online porn with a credit card?
No.
Well, are you going to be mad?
I'm not going to be upset about it. I just doesn't make any sense that you can't use a credit card.
Let's see if we can find some more info on it. Let's see if,
I mean, you can still go buy magazines with a credit card.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Hey, I'm with you.
Interesting.
Let's see. I don't think I want to find anything here. It says do's and don'ts of using credit cards responsibly.
No, that's not it.
Um, I don't know.
You'll have to look into that further, because that doesn't make sense to me. But I was shocked and yet not shocked that that thing didn't go through. Well, he was from Japan, I think, and he was supposed to man up with the cash, but it never happened. In fact, I don't even think they ever even met up or went to dinner or anything. But I'm not sure. I have to reread that article. All right, what'd you find?
This is interesting. It says 5 naughty things your credit card won't buy.
Okay.
It's got a guy in a stock photo holding a credit card.
At least it's not the blonde lady in the bathrobe. In the weeds.
In the weed?
Remember that picture we found?
A blonde lady in the weeds?
Yeah, she was in her bathrobe. It was a stock photo on some website thing we found.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Anyway.
Okay.
What are the 5
Credit
things?
card brands always brag about their card's ability to expand your purchasing power and VIE with each other for the greatest universal acceptance worldwide. Remember MasterCard's priceless slogan, there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard, or Visa's, it's everywhere you want to be. It turns out there's some things credit cards won't buy. So you can leave home without it, to riff off American Express catchphrase. And by the way, this is from bankrate.com. That way I can give a source.
Okay, so what are these things?
While credit companies typically want you to pull out their credit card for a purchase, the payment networks American Express, Discover, MasterCard, and Visa won't approve so-called naughty purchases. These transactions are treated as high-risk activities or run afoul of federal law, even if state laws allow it. As a consumer, it pays to discover the 5 items that can't be bought with your credit card and the reasons behind the policy.
Shut up, they decline you?
That's right. It doesn't matter if you're buying marijuana for a medical purpose, for recreation. The transaction can only be made by cash. Discover and American Express have confirmed they don't allow cardholders to buy medical or recreational marijuana.
Wow.
And there is a stock photo of marijuana. It should be is it illegal to buy a stock photo of marijuana? No.
No, only if you smoke it.
Okay. It says it's our policy to adhere to federal law in such matters, says Sanette Ko, a spokesperson for American Express.
Okay, so you can't buy pot. What else?
We should call them next. No.
Okay, what else? What else can you not buy?
Okay, let's see here. I see a stock photo that says adults only.
Oh, there.
If you're looking for a little online titillation, they use that word. Don't use your American Express card for the experience. The company doesn't allow its cardholders to purchase online pornography. Even though it's federally legal, says Chow, or Kao, according to the company's spokeswoman. The policy has been in place since 2000.
Really?
So this is nothing new.
Okay, so now, by my shock, you can tell how often I try to buy porn with my American Express.
Well, I just thought it happened today.
I had no idea they would decline that.
The company found that the online adult content industry has an unacceptably high level of customer disputes, according to the KO. So, if your man has an American Express, he might have wanted to see Dirty Debbie's webcam, possibly,
But couldn't.
But I mean,
couldn't pay for
really,
it.
this is pretty wild.
That is wild. But that's just American Express, so MasterCard and Visa.
I'm gonna tell you what, like they probably were trying to get points while they were, wanking it or something. Oh my god! Imagine how cool this is,
How many
right?
points?
Like the guy smoking a cigar telling his friends,
He's smoking his medical marijuana.
you can actually, guys. Let me tell you what I did last weekend. I actually watched 35 hours of this crazy girl like spinning on a pole and doing crazy things to her bed, but I got like a bunch of points and I got a free hotel room.
Is that that's
That's I was trying to be funny. It didn't
who is
work.
that, Frank?
No, that's actually my nerdy voice. Guys, let me tell you something here. You guys better leave that girl alone over there. You have to deal with me. That's like Clark.
That's Clark Kent gone way wrong.
No, I can't say that. But it's not Clark Kent. It's not. I promise.
Okay, so American Express will not approve.
It's Kevin Kent.
It's Kevin Kent. Will not
It's
approve
Kevin Kent.
online porn. Okay, what else?
Okay, number 4.
4.
Gambling chips. If you need chips for that high-stakes poker game in Las Vegas, bring cash. Nevada laws prohibit the purchase of gambling chips and a credit card.
What?
With a credit card, says Gary Thompson, spokesman for Caesars Entertainment Corporation, which owns, operates, or manages casinos in 13 states and 7 countries.
Why? Because people fight the charges?
Well,
That would
think
be my
about
guess.
Well, I mean, I know a lot about finance too.
But if you could call up as a client and say, I didn't buy all those chips.
Okay, you go to Vegas, right?
Uh-huh.
You run it up on a credit card. You charge it
Yeah.
off. Then basically, you file bankruptcy on that
Right.
card. It's over.
Right.
I mean, you just
Right.
went to Vegas. You could do that once every, what, 3,
7
7
years?
or just whenever the charge-off takes place. So, like, I mean, that's why.
Okay, I can understand that.
That's probably human reason why.
Okay, next.
Because they have about 3 paragraphs.
What else?
Here's the other one.
Oh,
Lottery
lottery
tickets.
tickets. See, all these things I don't ever buy. So
Looking to win millions, you can't use your American Express or Discover card to get the chance.
that's
Both
funny.
Companies prohibit cardholders from buying lottery tickets with their credit cards. And I mean, in Louisiana, they won't even take a credit card for a lottery ticket. I will tell you that. I know that. Cash
Well,
only.
I will say the only other time I think we've bought lottery tickets like 2 or 3 times. We always just brought $10 in. So I guess I've never even tried.
You see this lottery ticket?
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks ago. I still haven't
Did you
checked.
win?
I have no idea.
You could be a bazillionaire.
I could be. You know, you know what? Let's see if there's another one, and if not, we're gonna go to another ADD thought. Let's see. Oh, WikiLeaks donations.
Shut up.
Sure, you cannot use your credit card to buy Wiki. Oh my God!
Seriously?
Like really,
Seriously.
that is not a joke.
That's funny.
Next is cigarettes.
Oh, I was gonna
That's a
say.
joke. That's a joke.
So cigarettes and scotch. What's wrong with that?
Cigarettes and scotch.
You should be able to buy as much of that as you want.
Oh, I mean, really, the first step to kicking a bad habit is to understand exactly how it impacts you. Find out how you can save thousands by making a few smart moves. And Bankrate wants to help.
Oh, that's their ad at the end.
Yeah,
cigarettes
they
and
are
scotch?
so lucky.
That's awesome.
It's 10 at night, because my ass would have called. I had to call American Express and ask them about Raul, like, you know, somebody. Raul Chicken Chestnut or,
Say that 12 times fast.
Howard Stern used to have a character called Mama Lick a Boo Boo Day. And it was probably like one of the coolest characters I've ever heard in my life. But I'm trying to think of somebody like Prosper Beneducci.
Right. Well, that's very interesting that you can't do all that with credit cards and what have you. I find that very interesting.
That's why the show is called.
That's interesting.
You know,
I like that.
it's just a credit card. I mean, but you know, people
Well,
buy.
because at the end of the day, it really
kinds of stuff
isn't
with 'em.
your money. It's theirs that you're spending. And then you owe them. So if they don't want you to spend it on something in particular, they
Unless you
can say,
bankrupt.
no, can't have that.
Yeah, you can't have that. Can't have that.
Mhm.
They say no porn
No
for you.
for you.
No point. No chips. No poker
No
chips for
poker
you.
chips. No.
Can't buy poker chips. I wonder if you could buy bicycle poker chips with a credit card.
Just not in the casino at the table.
By the way, we were talking about this earlier. I walk in my place yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
My alarm is on, and it's playing. Like you walk in and like nobody's there, and you're like, what is that noise? And you hear something and you don't know what it is, and you're like, is the KRVS guy? And then I walk in and all of a sudden it's opera night last night on 88.7 apparently, and like so I sat there and I listened to it for a little while, and I was just thinking about why I needed to buy a new alarm clock while this thing was doing this.
While it's blaring
And
Carmen.
do what?
While it's blaring Carmen.
What is Carmen?
An opera. What opera were you listening to?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It wasn't a good one
Oh.
though. It was one of the ones where they like, the woman is like saying something and then the man starts talking too in his opera voice. And like, and he's like, and I was sitting there acting like was trying to figure out what they were talking about, and it just didn't happen. It did not happen at all. So Rachel,
Yeah.
before we go, I have to ask you
Okay.
this. What is your relationship question of the week?
Oh, the Lulu question. Because it's my favorite app. Lulu.
I still think it's scary because it's called Lulu. Like, I want to look Lulu up in the dictionary and see what the actual definition of that is.
Well, I go for it. Let's see. Okay, here's one. These are the questions that they submit to Dear Dude. And then Dear Dude actually writes back his perspective, his answer, which I love, but we'll answer these. I've been dating the same guy for about a year, but he still gets nervous saying I love you to me in front of his friends. I don't want to be annoying and complain, and I know that some guys might make fun of him for it, but what's the deal?
Let me read the Lulu definition. An outstanding example of a particular type of person or thing. As far as nightmares went, this one was a Lulu.
As far as questions go, this
like
one was a Lulu.
I am lost with this one. Okay. The guy doesn't want to say he loves you in front of his friends.
He's reluctant.
Well, then I wouldn't ask him for a ring anytime soon. That's my answer to that question.
My guess is he's not really feeling it.
If you force a man to tell you he loves you and he says it in front of his friends, apparently that's like the ritual of a wedding. Like you saying I love you to everyone of your family and your friends, and you invite them, and all his buddies that like went crazy stripper hike or standing right next to him while he does
Right.
it. You know what? Then whatever. I mean, I personally, if I love a woman, I don't give a shit who's there. You just tell her you love her. I mean, if you do. If you don't, you might not.
And if he does, and doesn't want to say it in front of his friends, he's got
Then
issues.
he's got a fear
He's got
somewhere.
issues.
Like there's some kind of fear there that you need to get rid
Yeah.
of. You know? Get rid of that fear. It's not that big of a deal. Really.
So what should she do?
And I felt like this before my divorce. Just to let you know.
So you haven't swallowed a bitter pill yet?
No. I mean, I'm not against marriage at all. I mean, I take pictures of weddings.
Well, that doesn't mean you would have to be for weddings
Absolutely.
to take
Are
pictures.
You crazy? Let's talk about this. Because somebody asked me this the other day. They're like, okay, you've been divorced and you take photos of weddings. Okay.
Well, why wouldn't you?
I want to say this. I think I learned more about marriage by taking photos of weddings.
Mhm.
Because, there are moments when I take photos of people.
You can tell if it's gonna work.
You can tell everything.
You can tell if it's
You
gonna
can
work.
tell if mom's
Oh,
with it. You
yeah.
can see everything. Cause like even like, okay, now I take photos of boxing matches too.
Same thing.
You can tell who really wanted it. Okay, like in the match, like you could tell just by the way that their face is coming at them. I mean, like the swings and the sweat flying and everything. Like you could see it all. So when you're at a wedding and you see two people look at each other while they're standing by the altar, even if they got ripped up drunk the night before because they were so crazily drunk, you can really, if you're somebody who loves someone,
You can
can
tell.
truly see it. And I mean, sometimes I gotta get all up in their face to take the photo. So like when they're looking at each other, whenever you're not looking, you really can see that. You can, and I think when you do see it, it's cool.
But you can also tell if it's gonna work because of the people around them. Because they can
Well,
show as much love as they want, but if they got crazy, if they're
and you see,
surrounded
I
by
don't.
crazy,
I got a weird.
it's gonna be
thought about
tough.
that. I got a tough thought about
Hmm.
that. I mean, it's easier if you have a strong and committed family, yes. But if you don't, so what?
Well, yes, so what to a point, but if it becomes any kind of contention,
It's a little harder. I mean, especially if you have children, But
well, that's
you
just
wind up,
it.
I think, being stronger. I mean, because you're not. I hear a lot of different stories. I mean, I hear moms saying, well, she brings the kids over here all the time. That's just easier for her to go somewhere. But at the same time, if mom's not there, you have to be a little bit more creative about what you got when you have to do things. So I think being more creative is better.
Well, no, I understand that, but if there is something like the bride and the groom love each other, they have that look, it's all good, but the mom hates the daughter-in-law, or you know what I'm saying though?
I,
That is rough to live with
well,
for your whole
I would
life.
start with rule number one in a relationship. Do you think the other person loves who they are as a person? If they don't do that, then you may want to question that. Because if the person loves who they are, move forward. If they don't, figure out what the problem is. Because if they don't love who they are, it's easy to be influenced by anyone. It doesn't matter if there's a mom, dad, whatever. If they don't love who they are, it's very much easier to be influenced by anyone.
Well, I get it. It's
And
just I know
yeah.
that for years and years and years of that kind of stuff, that would be hard. It would be difficult when
Speaking
you
of
got drama like that.
hard and difficult, the one thing I will say is this.
I am not.
Oh no, that's not where I was going with that. I'm saying this. Y'all try to have a I don't know how to say this.
Spit it out.
Try to have a sexual relationship with each other on a regular basis. Really.
Well, yeah.
That's it. That's all I have to say about that. Like really, 'cause like I hear that all the time. I'm like, man, we got married and we don't have sex anymore, and I can actually say that does happen.
Is that the bitter pill coming out now?
I can actually say, I'm not gonna say anything else about that. But yeah, I can actually say that does happen, without a doubt. That's not a joke at all. But you know, that's why being creative is so better, much better. Because if you at least creative, it kind of spark a little bit of creativity in the bedroom, I
Well, there you
guess.
go.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because
I agree.
man, if I have to ever get married again and for some reason we just don't have that spark there, it's not happening. I'm not getting married again. Forget about it. Really. Like, I mean, Yep. Because I love being in love and all that stuff, but at the same time, I don't have time for somebody that don't want to be in love with me. Period.
I agree.
You can say
I
amen to
can
that
say
if you want.
amen. Can I get an amen? And there you have it. Kevin's advice.
This is either a good show
Or horrible.
or a really bad show
Well,
tonight. But one thing's for sure, I had
it
fun
is
doing it.
nighttime. That's the difference.
I know. And right by my desk, Frank Sinatra's got his arms crossed and he's smiling, and it says "All the best, Frank Sinatra." And
It should say one for the road.
one for the road with his arms crossed in a
Mhm.
tux. I think I like all the best better. I mean, that'd be like me and Frank going on a road together.
One for the road.
He's actually the only person I've ever not been able to meet that I wanted to meet.
Yeah. I'll say that.
So, yeah, that's why you see him all over. And stuff.
And stuff. Well, I'm thinking we wrap it up because that's interesting.
We're gonna wrap that. Well, next week we'll see what we have, and we'll see what cool band we get to talk to this week too, because that's been a lot of fun. Get out there and listen to some live music too, because there's a lot of it in Acadiana, and you should want to, because these people actually are part of your community, and they're very
And we've
good.
got great artists here.
Yes.
Great.
And art too,
Yes.
by the way. There's a lot of art shows coming up. I think at Freetown Studios they have one coming up. So Google their Facebook page and check out what they have too. So till
Till
week.
next week. Keep it
Have
interesting.
an interesting week.
Bye.
Bye.